Now, I was talking yesterday about something, and it brought something to mind. Now, I've done a video before on health and safety and the kind of people who post health and safety warnings on your videos on YouTube whenever you're doing anything. And what was brought to mind yesterday was the idea of personal responsibility. Now, every time you do something, even just stepping out of your house, actually if you don't step out of your house, you're taking a risk. The world is a dangerous place. There's lots of things that can happen to you. You fall downstairs, fall off a ladder, you get run over. Even if you're just minding your own business, a bit of aeroplane can drop on you. It happens. Things happen in the world that are dangerous, and every time you do something, you're taking a risk with that. Now, obviously, to a degree, you take a sense of responsibility for yourself and perform your actions in the safest possible way. But there are always people out there who really will do some of the most astounding things. And there was a story on the news about a chap who wandered into casualty with his arm cut off. And they asked him, how the hell did that happen? And apparently, he'd decided to scratch himself with a chainsaw. So he was using this chainsaw, had an itch on his upper arm and thought, oh, I'll tell you what, I'll scratch that with the chainsaw. What's the worst that can happen? And he cut his arm off. This kind of person really shouldn't be allowed out. But it's a true story, apparently. Now, a chainsaw is a dangerous machine. We all know that. But it's safe if used safely. And safe if used by a person who has half a brain, somebody who can take responsibility for their own actions. Now, I'm willing to bet at some stage there'll be somebody who sues the chainsaw company for not putting a warning on the chainsaw, do not scratch yourself with chainsaw. There was another story that comes to mind about a Canadian chap, and he bought himself a recreational vehicle, an RV, and he set off on a long tour, and he put the thing on cruise control and got up to go to the back to make himself a cup of tea, and sure enough, he crashed. Apparently, he then sued the RV company for not telling him that cruise control didn't mean that it guided itself along the road, and apparently he won. So now if you read the book in an RV, it will tell you this, because this guy did something completely, utterly stupid, and sued the company for it, and won. And you have to ask yourself, where is the responsibility he has for his own actions? I mean, it was a stupid thing to do, just like scratching yourself with a chainsaw. It's a stupid thing to do. When you do something stupid with a dangerous machine, you really, to my mind, can't then blame somebody else. But of course, this happens time and time again. We refuse to take responsibility for ourselves to a degree. And when something horrible happens, we look around to find somebody else to blame apart from ourselves. And because of the kind of society that we live in, that viewpoint is supported. Now, this drives me crazy. And it drives me crazy because, obviously, working in chemistry, you're working with dangerous materials. And do I really need to warn you not to drink the acid? When I begin a chemistry video, do I need to say, hey, look, this is copper sulfate. It's used to kill trees. Don't drink it. Now, apparently, I do. And I get people telling me to do that. And I think, well, if you're going to do something in chemistry, you have a responsibility to inform yourself about the dangers that you're going to be experiencing, because it is a dangerous thing to do. Chemicals in their pure form are not safe. You need to take a reasonable amount of care in handling them. Now, mostly people know this, and mostly people do it in that kind of way. But of course, you're always going to get somebody who doesn't inform themselves properly, who looks at a bottle of bleach and thinks, I tell you what, that looks tasty, and has a swig. Happens all the time. And you think to yourself, well, where is my responsibility in this? Now, there is obviously a degree of responsibility from me to warn you about some things, and I do. I warn people to wear gloves or eye protection or to take particular care with particularly dangerous things. But if you're going to work in chemistry, you've got to realise that your hobby is dangerous, and you have to take a reasonable amount of steps to understand what you're doing and have a degree of personal responsibility for your own safety. So when somebody writes to me about a health and safety issue, most of the time I actually find it tremendously irritating, because I think you have that responsibility yourself as well as me. In fact, I think your responsibility is much greater than mine. When I demonstrate something, normally I'm taking a reasonable amount of care for the thing that I'm actually handling, and the fact that I'm handling something with gloves on should be a huge signal to you. Put gloves on. And equally, if I'm handling something without gloves, it's probably because it just doesn't matter. I mean, I wouldn't dip my fingers in the stuff, but it certainly doesn't matter that much, and so I don't particularly bother. And these should be signals to you when you're looking at what it is that I'm doing. Now, the big thing that people tell you is, well, what about the children? That there are kids out there who will try to emulate what you're doing and they won't inform themselves. And I think, yeah, well, what about the children? Kids aren't that stupid. I mean, they are if they're 5 years old, if they're 3 years old, they will drink the bleach. But if they get to be about 13, 14, 15, when they're actually expressing an interest in this kind of stuff, then they've got enough brain there to be able to look after themselves. And if they don't, well, I'm actually a firm believer in the Darwin Awards. If somebody's going to do something stupid and they hurt themselves, well, it's their fault. Tough is what I think. The truth is, kids of sort of 3, 4, 5 have got no interest in chemistry. And sure, you need to protect that kind of child. But kids of sort of 12, 13, 14 who are interested in chemistry are actually far brighter and cleverer than we give them credit for. Now, I obviously talk to these kind of guys, and some of the questions are actually much more intelligent than questions that I get from older people. It's just the way it is. Sometimes a kid is far brighter than an adult, and they take far more care of themselves and inform themselves far better. Now, I don't really worry too much if they don't. I don't really worry too much if an adult doesn't inform themselves, because like I say, I think that the responsibility you have for yourself doesn't extend to me. It's your responsibility to protect you. You need to inform yourself about what you're doing. Okay, like I said, I need to give you some guidance on it, but only that, just guidance. I don't really need to be laying down a load of do's and don'ts. You should know these things if you're going to pick up a test tube, and I find that most people do know these things. What I find is that every now and then somebody will come to me saying, I'm not giving enough health and safety advice. And they do that not because they care about the health and safety advice. They do that because they care about hearing their own voices. And that's just annoying to me. Anyway, I know it's a bit of a rant, but it came to mind because of what I was talking about yesterday. And I thought I'd just do a quick note, a quick video to discuss it a little bit, really. Anyway, thank you very much for watching. I hope you found it amusing.